Hello, I'm Kevin Morrison. Welcome to SPS Now, where we let you know what's happening in Spokane schools and how it affects your family. So let's take a look around SPS. If you're someone who likes to get your planning done as early as possible, you're in luck. Calendars for the 2017-2018 school year and the 2018-19 school year are available now on the district website. Just visit the address on your screen. The moment many have been anticipating all year is on the horizon: high school graduation. You can find upcoming graduation dates and times at the address on your screen. If you have family and friends who can't make it to the ceremony, remind them to watch our live stream of each event at spokaneschools.org/stories or on Comcast Channel 17. Each event will remain on our YouTube channel for viewing after the big day as well. 109 people are retiring from Spokane Public Schools this year, and many of them attended our annual retirement dinner May 18th at Rogers High School. We'd like to wish a fond farewell to these valued members of the SPS team who have given a combined 2,700 plus years of service to benefit Spokane students. Your impact both individually and collectively will be felt for generations, and we wish you a happy, healthy, and safe retirement. Ongoing enrollment growth and class size reduction legislation for grades K through 3 means SPS has started early planning for the 2021 school construction bond. That planning includes a committee that has been studying the pros and cons of various configurations for several months. Over the past few weeks, other members of the Spokane community have had a chance to voice their thoughts at a series of forums at each of our 6 middle schools. Thousands of people also gave input via our Thought Exchange online survey tool. See what we've learned so far and where we go from here by visiting the address on your screen. SPS offers a number of summer programs to students throughout the Spokane area, and they're filling up fast. Our science, technology, engineering, and math camps are open to all students in the Eastern Washington region entering preschool through 8th grade this fall. There are more than 25 different camps available in everything from video game design to crime scene investigation. We also have a broad range of athletic summer camps for kids of all ages. SPS students with a documented low-income status will never be turned away for inability to pay. Our Express Summer program, meanwhile, offers a full-day licensed childcare with fun and enriching activities for children ages 3 through 12. Learn about all of these summer opportunities and others on our website. I'm joined now by the newest addition to the 5-member SPS Board of Directors, Mr. Mike Weiser. Dr. Weiser, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Kevin.
You were selected from more than a dozen candidates to fill the vacant position left by Bob Dowdett. What made you want to apply to become a school board member?
Well, I'll give you a bit of the long story, I suppose. I think my interest started back when I was in Chicago going to business school. And you know, when you're in business school, you're trying to worry about capitalistic endeavors and being successful in business. And so you also think about how can I be engaged with my community and give back a little bit all the time, not just you know, kind of at the end of the year or something like that with donations. So I got involved there with a little bit of volunteering with Chicago Public Schools, which led into some work with communities and schools of Chicago at the time. And then when my wife and I decided to have a family and move back to Spokane, I just became more engaged with my kids' education, from preschool co-op to the parent group at Franklin Elementary. And so along that time, it was kind of a running half-hearted joke, I guess, of I should run for school board sometime. And a couple of years ago, got a little bit serious about it. Thought I should really make a decision. Am I going to do this or not? So this opportunity came up, and I thought, well, I'll put in an application, and it'll be a good way for me to write out why I would want to become a school board member. And whether I get it or not, I would at least have that decision point in my life of deciding to do so or not. So I put in the application and left it up to the board to decide. And again, I think it goes back to wanting to not just work on behalf of my kids, but do something broader for the community.
Great. And I know that it's only been 2 months. You've only been in the office for 2 months. What have you learned so far?
I've learned that I will never learn it all. The scale and scope of the district is immense. but it's been a lot of fun. I've been following the advice of staff and of my fellow board members on how to ramp up and how to connect with schools and get a sense for the district. So I've met with a lot of the superintendent's leadership group to understand everything from, at a high level, everything from purchasing and school support to the IT system and finance. But probably the most fun, of course, is going out to schools, and each board member has 10 or 11 schools that we don't use the term school buddy, but I would kind of think of it like that, of we should be going there once or twice a year to these schools in our list and getting a sense for that community and that school and what the challenges are that those educators face and that those parents face and kids, and also what successes they've had. So that's been really, really cool. And then also, again, it's not unique knowledge to board members, but just the size of the district has been perhaps not surprising, but when you think about adding up all of the number of 3,000 teachers and 1,000 support staff and another 1,000 part-time substitute sorts of staff, you got 5,000 people working for the district. You have 30,000 students. Each of those students has a parent or caregiver. So you start adding those numbers up pretty quickly, and you pretty quickly, I think, get to something like, on a day-to-day basis, 70,000 members of our community being engaged with Spokane Public Schools or affected by it, which is a third of the community, not to mention all the former graduates and taxpayers. So I think what's really hit home is just that level of impact that our school district has with the community.
Yeah, the scalability is always something that I think that most new school members communicate is kind of a little bit staggering after they've been a member for a while, and that knowledge will just continue to grow, I'm sure, as you do it. For somebody who doesn't know, and we get this question quite a bit, I know, at Spokane schools, what does a board member actually do?
Good question. So I'm learning that as well, but I think the basics are pretty clear in terms of the overall board has some certain responsibilities. Primarily that's to hire and evaluate the superintendent, and I think one of the first boards, school boards that was created when our country was founded had I think it was 3 or 4 different responsibilities: hire the superintendent, have a building, and provide firewood. And so I haven't been having to cut any firewood yet, but we have been, again, it gets back to that responsibility of working with the superintendent and being a governance team to set priorities, to set goals, to evaluate goals, and that's really what it comes down to for the board. And then on the superintendent side, it's her job to implement, to manage, and oversee the day-to-day operations.
Going forth, what's going to be your guiding philosophy moving forward with school board decisions that you may have to make?
Mm-hmm. I think the number one has got to be really related to SPS's motto, excellence for everyone. I think that every time the school board makes a decision, it should be with the thought that this is going to help all students across the district improve in their achievement of their own unique goals. I think it's easy oftentimes for any company or large organization to do a great job with 80% of their customers or constituents. Really, really hard to get out the remaining 20% who have probably lots of different unique needs, and I think every time we make a decision, we need to be thinking about those unique needs of different sorts of students that we serve.
That's a good philosophy to go forth for this community that both you and I have grown up in.
Yep.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being here today, and I look forward to moving forward with you and the rest of the school board as Spokane Public Schools does move towards that excellence for everyone.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
Spokane Public Schools partners with Durham School Services to provide transportation for over 800 special education students and 6,000 regular education students every year. As part of our ongoing effort to increase system efficiency, all eligible bus riders in Spokane Public Schools must register online in order to ride the bus this coming fall. Visit the address on your screen to register before June 30th. You can check your eligibility while you're there too. And if you don't have a computer, Stop by your neighborhood school through June 20th to use one there, or anytime after June 20th, visit the SPS Administration Building at 200 North Bernard. Specific bus route information will be posted by the second week of August. Parents of bus riders will also be pleased to know there are now 2 new ways to view your student's current location. Beginning this month, parents and guardians of all K-12 bus riders can track their children's bus using a GPS-based app. Durham Bus Tracker helps gauge how far the bus is from their student's stop and estimates when the bus will be arriving. And this fall, all SPS bus riders will have a free Z-Pass card. Students simply tap the card on a reader as they enter and exit their bus, and parents and guardians can download an app that will let them track where their student is and when their student got on and off the bus. Learn about all of these exciting new changes by visiting the web address on your screen. I'm joined now by Student Advisor to the Board, Clara Coyote, whose appointment began last summer and ends in July. Clara, welcome.
Thank you so much.
So you're a senior at Ferris High School. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your activities there?
Sure. So one of the main things I do at Ferris is I participate in choir. And we have a really robust music program at Ferris. And so I'm in 2 choirs, the Canterbury Bells and the Symphonic Choir. And the Canterbury Bells just won 2nd in state, which so excited about. And then some other things at Ferris. I'm the president of the German club, and I have a German exchange student right now, actually. She's really fantastic. And I'm the president of the National Honor Society, where we do sort of community service. And then probably my most fun activity is I do improv comedy with the Thesperados at Ferris High School.
Wow. I had no idea.
Yes.
Now, for the uninitiated, why don't you tell everyone kind of what the Student Advisor to the Board actually does? What are your actual duties?
Yeah, so on a very basic level, I go to every other board meeting. There's 2 board meetings per month, so I go to one, and my partner Hallie goes to the other. And I sit through the whole thing, but I also get a little slot of time to speak on really any important matters I can think of in the school district. It could pertain to sort of a theme of the night, like grades or valedictorians, or it could just be really anything I've noticed from month to month. And then on a more general level, I listen to my peers, what's on their minds, I ask questions, I connect with the leadership at my school, and I just try to be a voice for the student population.
Fantastic, and you do a great job of that as well.
Thank you.
How did you come into the position? What is the process exactly?
Sure, so I learned about the position online. It was posted on the Spokane Public Schools website. And so first I sent in a written application ahead of time, just sort of detailing my activities, why I wanted to be a leader within the school district. And then I was called in for interviews. And so I sat in front of the school board and the current standing student school board representative. And they just asked some, pretty general questions. And yeah, then that same night I got the call that I made it.
Great.
Yeah.
So tell me, what have you learned in this role about the school district that maybe you didn't realize before?
I've definitely learned that people have great intentions always, from bottom to top, and really the barriers come in details and communication. And so sometimes as a student, it seems like nothing is changing and no one's listening. But to be at the top of the leadership and to hear those conversations, I learned that everyone really wants the best for students, and they're constantly looking for new ways to help. But the process can be really time consuming, and so we don't always see the change, even though they care and they want us to have the best.
Yeah, I think that reach out to the constituency, such a broad base when you're talking, probably 60,000 plus parents, 30,000 students, 5,400 staff members.
Exactly.
You've got to listen to a lot of voices. So is there anything that really surprised you that you had no idea once you became a member of the board?
Wow. What really surprised me, I think, is people don't necessarily know what the school board does exactly. And, some people don't quite realize the process or exactly what basis. I think a lot of people don't realize they can go speak to the board themselves. They think that the board might be sort of aloof or doesn't have time for them, but they really do. And I really loved hearing community members come and speak and give individual stories.
So that reach out, the different ways that they can reach out is probably the biggest surprise to you, that they are available.
Exactly.
And accessible.
And anyone can come and speak. You don't even have to be a student. You don't have to be a parent. I know people came and spoke just about issues that were concerning them at the time. What kind of education are students getting on this topic or that topic? Even just inquiry. It doesn't have to be the biggest issue in the world or like a national, topic of interest. Just that the school board is really there to listen.
Great. Well, thank you for your service to the school board and to the district, and we wish you nothing but the very best in your future and look forward to you coming back as you move on.
Thank you.
On each episode of SPS Now, we take a moment to highlight our community partners. This week, we'd like to celebrate Hoop Fest for the many ways they support and encourage students through Ignite basketball and other youth programs. SPS Superintendent Shelley Rediger recently nominated the organization for a Community Leaders Award through the Washington Association of School Administrators.
We are a 501c3 nonprofit, so it was founded in 1990, the organization, and this whole thing was formed around what has become the world's largest 3-on-3 street basketball tournament. Coming up in a few weeks, so the anxiety's up, but 6,000 plus teams. We roughly estimate about 250,000 people in downtown Spokane on the weekend. About a $46 million economic impact to the region. So it's a big event. There's nothing else like it. And what that event has allowed is the development of an organization around it. It allows us to do, a program called Ignite Basketball Association, which is an outreach program in partnership with Spokane Public Schools that allows 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, engagement through the game of basketball. It really just is gives them something to do on a Saturday night when they could be out doing other things that maybe that aren't quite as productive. It's free to the young athletes. We encourage and invite families to be a part of those nights. We typically invite some type of community leader or organization to come in and speak to the families and athletes. And then we play Hoop Fest style 3-on-3 basketball. I grew up in the game. I love the game. It opened up, I can't even tell you how many doors in my life because of the game. So I think it's a great way to engage for a number of reasons. For the most basic reasons, physical activity, just getting kids out and moving and healthy. Team building, learning how to interact with other people, how to share goals, how to communicate, that we're all just a small piece, no matter if it's in our classroom, in our family, in our community, in our neighborhoods. We're just a small piece of a community, and I think that really gets encapsulated in sport, especially team sports. And then I think one of the greatest lessons you learn in sports is how to deal with adversity. How to lose, how to pick yourself back up when you get knocked down. Because life comes at you, right? It's always coming at you. Even the best basketball players in the world only play it for a finite number of years, before your body changes and you can't quite do it at the level that you'd like to. But those lessons that you learn, the sacrifice, the goal setting, the teamwork, how to communicate, how to interact with people, certainly how to overcome adversity and what your character is made of, those are the types of things you can apply across the board throughout your entire life.
For the past 25 years, the Spokane Scholars Foundation has honored our county's best and brightest students in English, fine arts, mathematics, science, social studies, and world languages. Scholars are selected by the respective schools, then compete for cash awards given to the top 4 students in each of these categories. Since its start, the Scholars Foundation has honored over 3,200 high school seniors. Joining me now are 3 award winners here to discuss how their high school experience has brought them to this point. Welcome, everyone. Let's quickly have everyone introduce themselves and then tell us what your plans are after graduation. Grace, we'll start with you.
My name's Grace, and next year I'll be attending Northwestern University.
My name is Chris Matsumoto, and next year I plan to study physics at the University of Southern California.
I'm Allie Pinnock, and I plan on studying chemistry at Western Washington University.
Fantastic. So, as you prepare for the next steps, what are you most proud of so far in your 18 years?
I would say I'm most proud of my work ethic because throughout high school, especially freshman and sophomore year, it's kind of hard to look forward to senior year and see how everything's going to come together, because sometimes you work really hard and there's not a lot of recognition. But this year it's been really cool to see how all my work has kind of started paying off with college acceptances and scholarships and everything. So that's been awesome to see for me.
Chris?
I personally think that my drive towards physics has been my greatest accomplishment. I mean, sometimes some classes weren't offered by my school, so I would go out, self-study on my own, and I think just that process of being able to study on my own and not have someone look over my shoulder tell me if what I'm doing is right has been a big part of what I've done in high school.
For me, it's probably my involvement in the arts, like choir and theater. I started out with basically no experience in either of them, and it's been really fun to grow as both a student and eventually as a leader. And I think that's helped me with a lot of my other things in life. And yeah.
Great. So you've each touched on it briefly, but how did the high school, your past 4 years, kind of help create the point to where you're at now?
For me, in my high school career, I've had a lot of teachers who have challenged me a lot and kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone with different projects and different curricula. So even though sometimes I didn't want to maybe explore different subjects or do difficult assignments, it's really helped me to broaden my scope of interests and also at the same time kind of narrow in on the things that I'm really passionate about.
Good.
I think the past 4 years at high school prepared me very well. And for a while, I took classes at Gonzaga University, and I got to see how all my work in high school prepared me for university level classes. And especially many of my teachers that worked not only to help me know more, but also become smarter and reason at a higher level. You know, instead of just knowing more facts or knowing more solution procedures, I feel like I can actually reason at a higher level.
I'm kind of the same as Grace. I came from private school, so high school was a completely different experience than what I was used to. But I was able to get along really well with my teachers, and they really pushed me towards success, even if maybe I was dragging my feet a little bit. And I'm really glad I was able to get that experience.
Very good. Here's a question we'll often ask students who just either have come into a transition or are leaving a transition during their time in Spokane Public Schools. So I guess I'd like to ask it each of you as you're leaving our district. Grace, if I were to ask you, what would you wish you could have told your 9th grade self, what would it be?
I would tell my 9th grade self that even though things can be challenging and be difficult, it's important to not get down on yourself and keep going. And then also that even though school is really important and it's important to do your best, it's also important to be kind to yourself and have fun a little bit and make those important friendships that you're going to have for the rest of your life.
Well, I definitely don't have a big life lesson to tell myself, but I would probably want to continue taking clarinet lessons.
I'd probably tell myself to relax a little more, especially later on, because things get really stressful in that junior, senior year. So I'd tell myself to just lay back and try to have a little bit more fun while I'm getting all that stuff done.
Great. Good advice from all of you. And I want to thank you all for being here, and I want to thank and wish you, on behalf of Spokane Public Schools, and I'm sure all of your teachers and all the staff, congratulations, and we wish you nothing but the best in your future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching, Spokane. This show is available alongside our other SPS programming at spokaneschools.org/stories. And it will air again on Comcast Channel 17. You can learn more about anything mentioned during the show by visiting spokaneschools.org/SPS Now. And we're going to leave you with some footage of Shaw students at the Harmon Skate Park last week. Thanks to a partnership with Spokane Arts, 4 professional muralists visited Shaw classrooms this winter to talk about the creative process of a public artist. Students created their own designs, then worked with practicing artists to add some color to the neighborhood. Until next time, good night and have a great week.